said, this is the Lord's Sabbath day. And first and foremost, we always like to give praise and honor to the God of Israel, which is Jesus. And we like to specify that because most people think that because we Israelites, we don't believe in Jesus. We believe in Jesus, that's our King. But we're gonna get right to this lesson. It's gonna be a prophecy lesson where I'm gonna give you the title, The Two Sets of 144,000. The two sets of 144,000. What prompted this lesson is, I was talking to one of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they was talking about that only the 144,000 are the ones that are going to go to heaven, and they was the hierarchy or the leaders that are in the Jehovah's Witness church. And I said, no, brother. I said, now if they're going to be the one to go to heaven, which set? You look at me crazy. What you talking about? What set? Only one. I said, no, brother, two sets of 144,000, and neither one of them are going to heaven. No man is going to heaven. So we began to talk and began to open the scriptures up to him and let him see that. And he was like, man, you got a little crazy Bible. It don't read like my Bible, which is the Jehovah's Witness Bible, New World Translation. I said, well, this is the one that came off the press, brother. This is one of y'all copyright. This is one of y'all plagiarized and put Jehovah in there when you don't even understand who Jehovah is, which is Jesus. But anyway, we started talking about this 144,000, and I started breaking it down to him to let him see it, and he just ran away. He's like, no, they don't say that. I said, well, tell me what it is. There's two sets here. So if you don't understand who are these 144,000, which are Israelites, not spiritual Israel. Some are one. The first set is the immortal. His first set is the flesh ones that are going to be upon this earth now. The second set is going to come back in the first resurrection, which is going to help God rule this kingdom. And there is two sets, and we're going to go in these scriptures and break them down so you can understand this. Because if you encounter a Jehovah's Witness, this is going to come up. So you got to be prepared. So we're going to turn to Revelation chapter 7, verse 1. Let's understand the first set of 144,000. There's a difference in these two sets. There's a difference. If you don't know the difference, your life will depend on it. Your life. Because if you don't understand these two, you can get the wrong information from the wrong set of Israelites. There's a false set, and also there's the real set. So we're going to show you the difference between these two. And there's no kick on no other nation that can get salvation if they come under the real Israelites, which are the so-called Negroes all over the world, if they step up to the plate. So let's look at this first set. Revelation chapter 7 and verse 1. When you get it, brother, go ahead.
And after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
Yes, sir.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea.
Go ahead.
Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servant of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which was sealed, and there was sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
So he's telling you that this is the blessed seed of Israel, not spiritual Israel, not the other nation that can come under Israel. These are the so-called Negroes and Americans scattered all over the world. This got to happen before the Great Tribulation period. This is the time frame. He said, hurt not the earth until I seal the 144,000. So we know that this happened in the future. They got to be sealed first. So this ain't talking about the ones that we're going to talk about next, which is going to be in Revelation chapter 14. I'm going to lay a little background, but let's jump down to verse 14. Let me show you that this is not just talking about, if you're going to read all the way through this, it's going to be 12,000 in Judah, 12,000 in Asher, 12,000 in Zebulun, all the way down to all the tribes of Israel, which is going to equal up to 144,000. But these are the leaders of Israel that's going to be up on the earth today. Hopefully you one of the ones that chosen to do the work. Because these are the ones that are going to seal the Israelites in the last day before the Great Tribulation period. And that ain't happened yet. This future. So I'm just going to jump down to verse 14 to let you see that it's going to be more people that are saved other than these 144,000. Go ahead, brother.
14.
Yeah.
And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and has washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb.
See, this after the Great Tribulation. After the Great Tribulation ain't happened yet. That happens when the man of sin sitting in the temple of God and called himself God. Then the tribulation started, and then it's going to be 3.5 years. So we understand that he said there are going to be other nations. These are the ones. Jump back up in verse 9. Read verse 9. Go ahead.
After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands.
So he said, stood before the Lamb, and he said, all nations. This talking about all nation of people. All nations. These 144,000, these last days before the Great Tribulation, they the ones that are going to have to seal you and make sure that you can get salvation. If you don't get it from the Israelites, you won't get it at all. You'll be stuck. You'll be believing these Jehovah's Witnesses talking about their church is the hierarchy of Israel. They the ones that's supposed to give you the word of God, in which they are not. We know who the Israelites are through the Bible, through the black history. We know who they are. They are Israel. Now let's go get the second set, and we're going to break it down here from the second set. Let's go to Revelation chapter 14, same book, and verse 1. Just laying the foundation and we're going to break it all down. So this man was telling me some stuff, he wasn't signing right. I said, read it, brother. He couldn't read it. I said, there are two sets of 144,000, and please don't think that this is not necessary. Because if you've been chosen by God to be one of these, man, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. Let's look at the second set. Let's go to Revelation chapter 14 and verse 1. Go ahead.
And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their forehead.
Now he said a lamb stood. Who's the lamb? Jesus stood where? Mount Zion, which is Mount Sinai in Jerusalem. Now I asked his brother, I said, now, this is talking about a spot in Jerusalem, not heaven. So the next verse, gonna go down and read verse 2. And I said, read that verse 2. Let's see, where is he talking from? Go ahead.
And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps.
He said, I heard a voice from heaven. Now, if these 144,000, as I told this brother, are in heaven, how is he hearing another voice in heaven? They're not in heaven. He said, I heard a voice from heaven. These are upon the earth. And he was saying, no, your Bible just read different. No, your Bible is different from the King James Version. Y'all plagiarize this thing, you don't understand what's going on. So let's get the location so you'll understand. We're going to break this 14. Keep your head spotted in Revelation chapter 14. We're going to come back. So let's go see where's Jesus going to be at this time. Let's match it up. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 1. Because it said, verse 1 said, I looked and saw the Lamb stood upon Mount Sinai. and there with him was 144,000. So we need to find out this location. Is it in heaven or is it on earth? The brother told me it was in heaven. It's not in heaven. Let's see if it's in heaven or earth. Zechariah chapter 14, we're going to start with verse 1. You can't leave no stone uncovered, man. You got to break everything down. This book, all these scriptures mean something. And you have to go into some of the deep matters of the book. You have to. Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee.
Now we understand, he's telling us, when is this? It's the day of the Lord. This is after the seventh trump is blown. That's when Jesus is going to come back. That's the day of the Lord. You got 7 trumpets that going to blow. He said, this is the day of the Lord. And this is what's going to happen. Go ahead.
For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle.
Yes, sir.
And the city shall be taken, and the houses raffled, and the women's ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city.
At this time right here is the time before the great tribulation. You understand this? He said, the women shall be ravished. They're talking about rape. If you don't know who the 144,000 is, you might as well get ready for this. God is not a man that he will lie. He said the houses ravel, meaning that there's going to be so much destruction upon this earth that you ain't going to even have a place to stay unless you with the man of sin. And he going to ask for that mark in your right hand and your forehead. He going to protect you there. But if you running all over here and not taking that mark, this is what's going to happen to you if you don't get in the wilderness at this time. This is the time of Armageddon. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle.
Now this is the location in verse 4 what we talked about in Revelation chapter 14. He said the Lamb stood on the mountain, which is Mount Sinai. This is the time. Go ahead.
And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives.
Yes, sir.
Which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west.
Yes, sir.
And there shall be a very great valley. Half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south.
It said his feet shall stand upon where? The Mount of Olives, which is the same as Mount Zion. Same thing. They're going to stand there. Whoever in Jerusalem at this time, I tell you, brothers, when you go over to Jerusalem too quick, you're going to get crushed. He's going to destroy everything that's in Jerusalem. He's going to destroy it all. When his feet hit the Mount of Olives, he left away from here going up to the sky, and he told the disciples in Acts chapter 1, he said, the same Jesus you see come up, going to come back down the same way. He's coming down the same way. This is where he's talking about he saw a lamb stood, and we're with him, which is 144,000. But keep going. We're going to break all this down.
And he shall flee to the valley of the mountains. For the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yea, ye shall flee like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah.
Yes, sir.
And the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee.
Where you get them saints from? When is all this happening? And people don't understand when this all is happening. This is the time of the first resurrection. First resurrection. Jump down to verse 9. Let me show y'all. This is when Jesus is going to sit upon this earth with his authority in earth, and he's going to have his government side of it. And these 144,000 are going to run it. They're going to run it. Jump down to verse 9. Let's see what's going to be happening at this time. Go ahead.
And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one.
So we know this future. He said the Lord will be king upon all the earth. And he said one thing here about these saints. Now let's go back to Revelation chapter 14 and read something. I just want to give you the location. When we read this stuff, we need to know what it is. Not just reading and don't understand it. You got to understand it. Revelation chapter 14 and verse 1. Let's go back and finish identifying these 144,000. The first said in Revelation chapter 7, those are flesh. These says right here are immortals. These are the ones he's going to bring with him. Start with verse 1 again. We're going to read with some understanding. Go ahead.
And I looked, and lo, a Lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000,
Go ahead.
having his Father's name written in their forehead.
So we know who the Lamb is in Jesus. We know what mountain it is. That's a mountain in Jerusalem. All that happened in Jerusalem. At one time, which is after the 7 trumpets blown. This is the first resurrection. Go ahead.
And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps.
Yes, sir.
And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the 4 beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth.
They said, oh, Jeff, see, they were redeemed from the earth. They just said they were redeemed from the earth. They ain't said they went to heaven. If you don't understand what's going on here, that's the first resurrection. Go ahead, finish that. We're going to break this down. Go ahead.
These are they which was not defiled with woman.
Wait a minute. He said not defiled with women? Not defiled with women. Go ahead.
These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins.
Wait, are they virgins? Go ahead.
These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb.
Go ahead.
And in their mouth was found no guile.
Wait a minute, I'm just pointing stuff out. They were found no guile, meaning that they didn't speak no sinful words. How can that be? Keep going.
And they are without fault before the throne of God.
See, we said without fault before the throne of God. They were virgins. We know they all men. And they from the 144,000. These others said 144,000 Revelation chapter 7 are here now. Jesus said there's no man upon the earth that didn't sin at all, at no time. But he's saying right here, these are the ones that have no guile in their mouth. They ain't no fault against them. They ain't no fault. So we got to understand the difference between these two sets. Revelation, we're gonna break this thing all the way down. Let's go to Revelation chapter, stay in the same book. It said in verse 3, he said, they sung a new song before the throne and before the 4 beasts and the elders. And no man could learn the song but 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. Now, how did they get redeemed? Let's find out how you get redeemed from the earth and what happens in that time. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians. Keep your spot right here. We're going to come back a little bit. 2 Thessalonians chapter 4. We find out how you redeem from the earth. And where are you going? If you don't know this, you'll be off in the 3rd heaven with Jesus and the Father and the holy angels as they teach in these Sunday churches. He said, these are they that are redeemed from the earth. Zechariah chapter 4, 2 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 13. 2 Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 13.
2 Thessalonians.
First Thessalonians. Sorry. Got my help. I'm getting excited about this lesson.
All right, bro.
I was understanding.
That's all right, bro.
I did the lesson a year ago, over a year ago. It's a little different. Go ahead, brother. Verse 13. Let's look at how they was redeemed from the earth. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 13. Go ahead.
But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope.
He's telling you, he don't want you to be ignorant, not knowing something about his plan. which is we just read in Revelation chapter 14 about the one being redeemed from the earth. Now we're going to see how they're going to be redeemed and where they're going. Go ahead.
For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him.
Understand that? He said those that were asleep in Jesus, meaning the ones that are dead upon this earth, he's going to redeem from where? The grave. Exactly. That's all he's telling you when he said redeem from the earth. This is the first resurrection. Go ahead.
Verse 15. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep.
You know what that tells you? You're going to see it if you're upon the earth. You're going to see them dead bodies come out of the earth, and you're going to see it at this time. If you're alive, he redeeming them from the earth. These 144,000, and amongst some more other people he going to redeem from the earth. We're just dealing with the set of the 144,000, knowing who they are and where they're going. Go ahead.
For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout,
yes, sir,
with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first.
This is what he said. He said, I'm coming back with my saints. That's like we read in Zechariah chapter 14. He said God came with who? His saints. Where did he get them from? He redeemed them from the earth. Keep going.
Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the cloud to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. So
Jeff, look, he said we're caught up in heaven. No, it didn't. He said caught up in the clouds. This is the second heaven. You talking about the third heaven where y'all want to go and Satan want to go. The one that these Sunday churches talking about they want to go. Which is the third heaven with the Father, the Son, and the angel. No, he was caught up in the clouds. You got to come back down. You want to go to the place when he talking about now, go buy a ticket and get in a jet. You can go there right now. This is what he's talking about. These are they that are redeemed from the earth. Were caught up in the clouds to get their heavenly bodies to go fight in Zechariah chapter 14. Go ahead.
Wherefore, comfort one another with these words.
These words are comforting.
Yes, they are.
They are comforting because all my life and all your life, we were taught we were going to heaven. And that was a lie. We weren't taught that Jesus is going to set up his throne on the earth and he's going to reign on this throne for 1,000 years. That ain't never been preached in the churches. Never. I ain't heard it. They send you straight off to hell on the right. So they say. This is what we got to understand. Now let's go back to Revelation chapter 14 and verse 1. We finished breaking this prophecy down. I'm telling you, if you don't know the playbook, how are you going to choose you and me to help him run this kingdom? You don't know what's going on. That's why he put all these instructions right here so you can understand what's going on. If he call you, he call you because you understand. But he ain't going to call no diamonds in these scriptures. He's not. You know, Israel, we stiff-necked, hard-headed. We take stuff personal instead of understanding that these are God's words. Don't take it personal now. Jeff didn't write this. We reading it. LC didn't write this. We reading it. Get in the book. Revelation chapter 14, verse 1. Let's finish this. Go ahead.
And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000.
Yes, sir.
Having his father's name written in their foreheads.
So we understand that the 144,000 that the Lamb is talking about, or it's when the time of the first resurrection. Because the Lamb is coming back after the 7 trumpets blown. And, which is Jesus, and he's going to stand on the Mount Sinai, which he's talking about in Zechariah chapter 14, with the redeemed from the earth, which are the first ones in the first resurrection. Go ahead.
And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps.
Go ahead.
And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the 4 beasts, and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth.
There were special ones. Special. Understand that when this time, it's gonna be a new language. And everybody gonna speak the same language. It ain't gonna be no Chinese, no Japanese, no English, and all that. Everybody gonna speak the same language in this resurrection. Everybody. Everybody gonna be on the same accord. So you ain't gonna have no excuses. But keep going.
These are they which were not defiled with woman, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth.
Yes, sir.
These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God.
Now let's go and see who are these men. These men are these 144,000, because these are the ones that are going to run the earth. And you're going to have other people at this time which are men and women upon this earth. But you're going to have men who are going to run this kingdom. Let's go to Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. I want y'all to understand this, that these are the children that were slain. In order for you to not sin, in order for you to be not sin and a virgin, you cannot be this type of people right here, because it has to be two sets on the 4,000. If they virgins and they haven't sinned, with no guile in their mouth, we're dealing with two different sets here. Let me show you what happened and who are these virgins. Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. Let's see who these virgins and where they come from. Go ahead, brother.
Now these are the names of the children of Israel,
Yes, sir.
which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah.
Yes, sir.
Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher.
These are the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 brothers, the 12 sons of Jacob. Go ahead.
And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation.
See, that generation that was Joseph and the 12 brothers, all that generation died. And then came upon, it was another king of Egypt that didn't know Joseph, didn't care nothing about Joseph, didn't care nothing about the Israelites. He just seen the Israelites was getting bigger and stronger in his land, which is Pharaoh. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. You
know Israel can have some babies now. Go ahead.
Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph.
He didn't know Joseph. He didn't know the great miracle that Joseph helped save Egypt at the time from famines. The Pharaoh at that time put Joseph in second in command. But go ahead.
And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
Go ahead.
Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out in a war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
So they were fearing the children of Israel, because we were growing more so than they was growing, and we were bigger and we were stronger. And they found fear, so they said, man, we got to go ahead and deal wise with these cats, because they strong, they might take us over. And this is what happened. Go ahead.
Therefore, verse 11, therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens.
Yes, sir.
And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pythons and Ramses.
See, these are one of the first. That's why I can't understand how we can claim to be African American. These are some of our first slave masters. Pharaoh out of Egypt. They got so afraid of Israel that they put taskmasters over there. They made them serve with rigor. I mean, real hard labor for 400 years.
That's right.
But also they did something else. Jump down to verse 15. This is what I'm getting to about these virgins that was killed, which were men. Go ahead.
And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the names of the ones was Shippaphah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew woman, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him.